Hello everyone, it's Adam 7 Fish Tanks here, and we're doing a panel live today. We've got quite a lot of topics to cover today, and we've got some new guests that you haven't seen before as well. So let's crack onto it and get this rolling. How are we all?
Good.
Evening, Nad. How are we?
If you want to introduce yourselves.
From Dylan, go on, Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan first, go on.
Camera's on me now. Dylan, DJ Aquatics, quite new to the hobby, to be fair. A couple of years. Breeding mainly plecos, corridorus and the like. Just out here for a good time.
Yeah. Keith, yourself. Everyone knows you, like, but go on.
I'm Keith from Aquatics Fanatics. And I keep loads of fish tanks.
And finally, Mick.
Michael from Aquatics Scaper Liverpool on Instagram. I think it's still... Is it still Scouse Scaper on YouTube? It might be.
Yeah.
But, that's me anyway. I do scapes, aquascaping. Got an aquascaping business. You know the dance.
Happy days. So we've got quite a lot of topics to cover today. I'll first crack on to just some of the topics about the channel to get them out the way, and then we can get on to the good stuff. So just to tell everyone that's in here now, we've unlocked memberships. So if you haven't already, oh look, Paul's in the chat. Nice to see. Yeah, well, speak of the devil, actually, because I was speaking about you earlier, Paul. We've got pretty much a bit of a northwest theme tonight. With obviously Keith only over the water, Mick only literally around the corner, and then Dylan in Warrington. So we're all in close proximity. But yeah, as I was about to say, anyway, we've recently just unlocked memberships. So if you haven't already and you want to see some exclusive content, get entered into giveaways, get merch, and see content early on, make sure to join the membership. It's a great way to support the channel. And yeah, thought I'd plug that first, lads. Second of all, we've got a video coming out tomorrow with Dylan, the man to my right. I'd like to hope he's on my right on YouTube. I don't know. And yeah, it's a little tour of fish breeding setups and some of the projects that you've got going on. And finally, also the final announcement too. We're going to be in Preston on Thursday for the Fish Club in Maidenhead Aquatics. Preston, it's going to be some good fun. Hopefully I get to see a couple of yous there if you are going, and hopefully no washing machines. Only you know, Keith, and the rest. Because I've got a feeling I'll see a washing machine or two. Right, anyways, we've got our topics in here, so we'll go on to our first topic. The nice and easy one anyway. How long have we all kept fish? So let's go for Dylan first. As you were just saying then, you're quite new to fish keeping yourself, you were saying.
Proper keeping it, like seriously, the past 3 years, I'd say. But I've kept fish since probably I couldn't spell. I've always kept, first everyone starts with guppies, and then it, as you can see behind me, it just takes off and goes absolutely crazy. Bit too far, but we love it.
Yeah. Rightio. Keith, yourself?
I've been keeping fish since I was about 12, 13, which is, what, 21 plus back in postage now, so probably about 28 years, something like that.
Veteran
Oh,
status at this point.
Starting to get the hang of it now, you know what.
I thought you didn't. You were asking me a couple of questions the other day.
I know, yeah. Well, you know, keep that between
saying
us.
how many guppies can go in a 10-gallon? Right.
I can't keep that many guppies alive.
Yeah, it's the same as Keith, really. Like, you know, since we were kids, my mum and dad had tanks and stuff, just little goldfish and things like that, you know what I mean? And then there was a period of time where we had nothing. And then myself, about the last 7-8 years, proper started getting into it again. That's it. That's all it is from there. You know how it is. You get one tank and then that's it.
I say that myself about, you know, I've been stuck with the one tank for ages. Now I have a bowl, so that's me slightly expanding. But I think Is it 4? Well, there's a new one that's coming out, Hush. But yeah, I think I've got 3 tanks in a bowl now, so that's kind of what I've got, and I've been keeping them since I was 18, so 6 years now, and the grey hairs are starting to collect. Don't know if I've got as many as Keith like, but I'll be there soon.
Saying I've got grey hair.
Yeah.
Got it.
Why do you think I've got a cap on, lad?
Why do you think I put my videos out in SD instead of HD?
Right, yo. So that's just the easy one breezed out the way. I'll just scratch that off now. Right. So the next one we are going to go on to is breeding. So I was wondering, because I know that you said you've bred a little bit, Michael, and I know that you said as well, Keith, but obviously Dylan here as well obviously does it as part of his income. So I think we'll start from Michael round to Keith and then to Dylan. So I'll let you go first on like breeding. So I was gonna say, what is it that you've bred, and then the hardest and the easiest things that you've bred?
Hardest and easiest thing. Well, but I've bred all kinds, to be honest with you, from guppies to, you know, corys, bristle nose, literally anything you can think of. I've cribs, you know, anything easy, you know,
Yeah.
that breed themselves. I'll do it. You know what I mean? We done shrimp for a bit, different coloured shrimp and that. Literally everything that can breed themselves.
Pretty much. So nothing too super complex then.
No, nothing really. Well, I mean, what is complex? You know what I mean?
I don't know, because people are saying the Nanacara Animala is easy, just add water, but then I can't get them things to breed for censored
That's it as well. It's one of them as well. Some people just know how to start the breeding process that easy. They've been doing it that long. It's nothing to them, is it? So it's like you're there and you're like, no, I've been trying and it's not working.
Exactly. Rightio. On to you, Keith. I know that you've been doing a bit of a rainbow fish yourself.
Oh yeah, so like before I was here, like in the old house, I had like a 15 by 12 room full of like tanks. I was breeding all sorts in it, mainly Tanganyika cichlids at the time. But I had a pair of biscuits, and I could get them to wrigglers, but I could never get them to start free swimming. Like the parents wouldn't have it. Do you know what I mean? And but anything easy really, I've been breeding over the years, because I tend to set the tank up and just let it do its own thing and let things breathe and stuff. So I've never really, if it's complicated to breed it, I've never really tried, to be honest. I just tend to like setting tanks up and just let the tank do its thing, rather than like when I retire and stuff, I'll probably have a go breeding, because you know it's like when you see people and they're like, oh, you need to do baby brine shrimp like 4 times a day and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not here for 12 hours some days, so I was supposed to do like baby brine shrimp 4 times in a day and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So it's one of them, isn't it? When I wind down in life, I'll probably start breeding, but at the moment, it's just anything that'll breed and look after itself. Obviously, doing loads of jelly shrimp at the moment and getting a kick out of that, like, so anything that'll look after itself while I'm in work, basically.
Yeah. Great stuff anyway, and it's nice to hear like a little insight from yourself. I had both years anyway, but obviously these are not the consistent breeder. You're more like you set up your tank and you let them breathe kind of thing, just add water kind of vibe. Whereas
to be
obviously
honest, before I started escaping properly, breeding was a big thing for me to get free stuff for me fish tanks and that. So I used to breed things and then take them to the shops. I'd either sell them to the shops for cash, or some places I'd trade. So I'd swap them for more fish or plants and anything really. You know what I mean? Like on a type of free stuff is the best type of. It's the most expensive hobby when you actually start getting into it. It's ridiculous, isn't it? You know what I mean? So anyway, you can save a little bit of money. It's great, and if the fish are doing it for you, take advantage. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, what you're saying here, I was like breeding stuff, trying to breed stuff to take it to the shop and sell it. And then what I realised is growing out breeding pairs, you're making just as much money growing out a breeding pair and taking them in. So sometimes just growing fish out, you can make as much money. My shop's constantly on at me, my local shop, to grow stuff out. Like, you know,
Yeah.
especially for like cichlid tanks, because they want like what are they called? The cuckoo catfish.
Oh,
Everyone comes in the shop
the
looking for them.
cockatoides, yeah.
So
That's the
they're
thing,
like,
isn't it? The fish that they get in, majority of the time are tiny babies.
and then people with mature Malawis come in and they're looking for catfish for the tank. And then they're like, we've got one that big. And it's
Yeah.
like, mate, Malawis are going to nail it as soon as it goes in the tank.
Exactly.
Nice little Scooby snack for the Malawis.
Do you know what? Right, talking about that. Does anyone remember Fish No Chips up in Chester? It's a
No.
saltwater thing on the outskirts of Chester, probably about 10 years ago now. Well, I had a saltwater tank and they were talking about Aptasian enemies I had. And I was like, obviously, get rid of them. And some lad said to me, get peppermint shrimp. So I drove all the way to Chester in rush hour to buy 2 shrimp. They were like 20 quid each or something stupid. Drove all the way back in rush hour, put them in my tank. They got about halfway down the tank and my rest just went bang. And they were just dead. And I was like, wow, what's going on here, mate?
A very nice snack.
Yeah,
Expensive snack.
she was like, "Help me, brew." Whoa. My bird was like, "Where's them shrimps?" I was like, "What shrimps? I didn't get no shrimps. What are you on about?"
40 quid down the pan plus
So
the
you just said you spent 50 quid on shrimps. No, the fish.
I'm
Who was the
intrigued
other
by my
man?
man here though, with all like so many tanks that you've only been in not long and you're already deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in deep, aren't you, Dylan?
Oh,
Dylan's got no chance, has he?
this isn't even like, can't even see half of them. We have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 in here.
You're gonna see it all tomorrow on the video 2 p.m. Big plug. But yeah, make sure to check out Dylan as well. Obviously, he does his own lives and content. But I'll ask you your questions anyway. So, how long have you actually been breeding fish?
Technically, since I was very young, probably less than 10. Obviously, we all started with guppies. So I used to breed your typical muck guppy, just your random guppies from the local shop. Didn't know much about it, but then we got into platies. Then I probably had about a 10-year break from mainly keeping fish. And then I got another tank as a bit of a hobby in COVID. And it kind of just, as you can see behind me, went a bit nuts.
The rabbit hole.
Yeah, it was a rabbit hole. You see one fish and you're like, oh, I can keep it in this tank. And then it spirals. And then most of my fish in here, other than the puffer in the top right, are hopefully breeding for me. But those zebra plecos won't do anything for me currently. No matter what I throw at them, they just don't. What you want to breed just doesn't breed, and then, like Keith said, I just literally just leave them to it now. I don't bother.
Although you did say that there's been a bit of trapping anyway.
Yeah. So. One of the females is a bit scuffed up all down the side, so I think they've been trapping overnight. But other than that, that's probably about as far as they go, and then they just lay low for 6 months and then act like they're not there anymore. But,
so, like, how long have you seriously been breeding? So, obviously, I know that Keith, and I know that also. Nice to see Ron in here. I know that Keith, and I know that Michael was saying that they've been breeding for a certain amount of time now. But obviously, breeding and bringing stuff in as a trade for other things in the hobby from shops. But how long have you been profiting, should I say, or doing that kind of thing with shops?
Profit is probably not the word, but bringing into shop probably past 2 years, serious properly, regularly bringing into shops. This year and probably half of last year has been quite big for me, to be honest. Because most of my groups, I buy them young, grow them up, and then just leave them to it. And now, obviously, I've got my albino gold laser cories, which are in that tank, and the tank over there now. It's got tons of babies.
Yeah.
But probably past year and a half, probably seriously taking them to shops. Obviously, I try and grow them out a bit more, and obviously try and get pairs. That's the best way, as it was said, to sell them. But it's quite hard at the moment when it comes to breeding because obviously the energy prices and all that stuff. It's moving actual fish on. A lot of people are shutting tanks down, so no one really goes to local breeders anymore. But
yeah.
And it's hard. You've got to think about that when moving the fry on when you're breeding this many types of fish, you've got to think that 5 fish has now turned into probably 100, which you've got to be. That's why I've got so many tanks, to be honest. It's space. Basically, one tank can fill 3 tanks worth of stuff.
Yeah, that's it. It snowballs.
I guess it's one of them, innit? You've got to find what sells, but also you've got to keep things in that'll keep you interested too, because you just don't want to be getting a load of guppies and flogging them on every week. You want to be like doing your own thing.
I do a bit of both, to be honest. Like most of the fish in here now at the moment are most fish that I've got for myself. My own. I don't really keep anything that I sell for profit. I don't really make a profit anymore. I just do it for the hobby. I love the whole keeping the fish. Like there's a one-eyed beta in there, just random. There's another beta in there that my other half keeps bringing betas home. They're literally just taking over at this point. Literally, there's one there. We've got 4 betas at this point. They're taking over. But I generally buy for like my own personal, like the zebras. I got them purely because I just like them. I know a lot of people go into it when they make some money on it, but it's not. If you're doing it for the wrong reasons, like I've got a puffer up there, which he's just a pet. He's just a pet. They're all just pets. A lot of people see it as a business. I'm just more of, I just love keeping them, and if they breed, they breed. It's one of those things.
Great stuff. And I was gonna say as well for all of you, like just a general question for everyone here as well. Like when you were breeding fish, even if it wasn't serious or not, but like what did you find was the one food that triggered breeding the most?
Depends on the fish.
Like say like a generalized one, because I know there's some fish that obviously require specific ones, but if there was like one food that you could feed that would trigger, say like over 50% of the fish in the hobby to breed, what would it be?
I'd tell you my go-to, when I used to want to get mine to breed, I'd just give them a heavy dose. I'd leave them for a bit, not starve them, but
yeah.
And then I'd give them a heavy dose, flake, shrimp brine, and bloodworm.
Yeah.
And nice feeding.
Live foods, frozen foods are the best.
Yeah, that's it. Bang the temp up a little bit.
Yeah.
So it comes back down on them.
That's what I was going to say. If I want to breed anything, I'll just go to the local shop and just buy all his live food and then just throw it in my tank every day, loads of it.
1,000,000%. Yeah.
That's the best way.
Great stuff. You've just gained a sub as well there, Dylan from Melvin in the house.
Cheers.
Right, so that is breeding ticked off. We will now go on to our next.
I want to know how long it took Dylan to realise when he started breeding he was going to need unlimited tanks.
How long? Very quickly.
You know what? Actually, we'll get onto that now. Before we move on to any more topics, like if we have any questions for each other. Oh, well, never mind. Actually, I threw that out the window. Right. We after this one, we'll go on to asking each other questions, and then we'll get on to the next few topics. But I'll ask you this. I'll go from I'll go from Mick to Keith to Dylan this time round. How would you say the hobby has changed since like you started keeping fish?
Well, for me, it's more along the aquascaping side of things now. So it's changed for me a lot in that sense, because it was just fish tanks, and now it's more aquascape. So it's a whole different world now. Yeah, and now that's gaining some, more and more people are getting into aquascaping. It's more of a thing. So it's always changing, to be honest with you. I'd say.
Because I could imagine from when you started, and the same with Keith, when you both started, it was probably something like, someone would go, oh, I've got a fish tank, and they probably got something maybe slightly bigger than what you've got in the background, but they probably got an Oscar chilling in there. Because like monster fish were like the theme back in the day, because you could throw a brick at them and like they'll take the abuse or take the damage, and then
the amount of like maintenance that I go out to, and it's like a gang of big fish from back in the day where they've had them for years. The tanks are a mess, whatever. But it is just big. It is you're actually spot on. There is loads of people just go for big fish back in the day, That's why you see loads of the shops now, and they've got all their fish back, massive. No one can take them.
Yeah, that's a thing. I think a lot of people are kind of it's all nano now. Even myself, like that. Like if I were to show that to like an OG fish keeper, they go, "Oh, what are you doing with all them little bitty things?" But like these are not even classed as nano. I think they're classed as medium now. But like nano fish, like all the chili raspberry, all the like sparkling gourami or scarlet badders and that at the moment seems to be the movement of what in the direction that people are going into. They want something that's like small, easy to look after, but they can have like loads of small fish in a community kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was gonna go on to yourself, Keith. Anyway, like when you started, what was it like? Because obviously I know that you've been going Andes over the water, but for like a good while. But like from now, like what you see them stocking, or like from the people in the community, or like what you've done yourself, like how's it changed for you?
Well, for me, like as a kid, I remember everyone had like. Do you remember them clear seal tanks where they were just like dead long and thin, and they had like a metal lid and like a T8 light, but like a big long bulb in the top, and it just put out no light, but it used like megawatts of electricity. Everyone had them in the 80s, and like everyone's tank was just orange. Do you know what I mean? And, like they'd have like neon tetras and like an Amazon sword that looked like it had never been fed, and it was just like bits of leaf everywhere. That's what the hobby was like when I started. It was, everyone just had pea gravel, and it was always like just thick and mold, and like these like neon tetras that looked like they just didn't want to live anymore. And that was like, or everyone had like a little plastic vivarium with a goldfish like stuck in the middle, and its eye had been massive because it was just like it just stunted, and it was like this tank like with this fish sat in the middle, just fed up with its life. That was the hobby in the 80s.
Yeah, they just
And then,
swim around in circles. I mean, when I was growing up, we had this goldfish bowl, and it'd been passed. Like this was my first fish, basically, and the goldfish was called Jaws, and it was like this big in a bowl, this big, and it just swam in circles. And like the stereotypical goldfish bowl, but it was even worse because it was like a bit of plastic on the bottom. It was like silver, and then on the top it was minging. And my ma, she used to get like a brush and scrub the bowl with the fish in with washing up liquid.
Yeah, man.
You just see this fish swirling around, she's scrubbing it like that. I'm like, can't you just take it out? There's no clue about beneficial bacteria filters or whatever. No. Obviously, there was water changes, but it was only when it looked a bit dirty that she just scrub it with the fish. It lost an eye in the end because she'd be washing the fish. And it lived over 20 years. This one goldfish.
I was just about to say that, like how the fish in ours survived that as long as they did, I'll never know. It's crazy.
You wouldn't get the fish surviving now. They usually
I thought this the other day. They were definitely switching them out. You know.
Yeah,
they must have been. They must have been
1,000.
Like your dog that went to farm. You know, like when you were growing up, your mum was like, "Where's my dog, mum?" So I was going to farm to live with the sheep. You know, like.
It lived over 20 years though, this one fish, because it was massive, and we used to feed it blue bottles like flies. We just dropped them in, and you just see it go and grab it from the top. And it was passed on from a nursery round by ours, and it'd been in the nursery for about 8 years, and the nursery was closing down, so it got passed to our neighbour. It lived with her for another like 6 to 8 years. So at that point, it was like 16 years old. And then it was given to us, and it was just in my bedroom, chilling on the shelf, and it'd just be like that. And it would just catch flies, drop it in. I think it choked on one once, and then my mum gave it, resuscitated it. Took the goldfish out the tank, laid it on like, laid it on a cloth, and just started massaging it, and like, massaging it. It started flopping. It was like, because his breath probably stunk, and then she chuck it back in. It lived a couple of years. It's mad how bulletproof and like the abuse fish used to get back in the day, because now we're like, oh, you can't put that beta fish in, like, or whatever.
100 litre.
Yeah, you're not allowed. Oh no, you're not allowed to do that. Or one shrimp in a bowl. No. But like back in the day, nobody cared. There wasn't the education. Although the fish survived, obviously, as you were saying, you had a neon tetra that looked like it was on its last legs, fighting it for its life in an orange lit box. But yeah, it's crazy how far it's advanced, and obviously a cool one to ask yourself anyway, Dylan. Obviously, you were saying that you've been keeping fish since you were a kid, but like for yourself, you said you've been keeping it, like doing it seriously since COVID. Like I think even since COVID, because I've been keeping fish since I was 18, so it's only been 6 years for me. How do you think it's changed? Obviously, there's been inflation. There's been a lot of fish that people can't get in anymore. There's
Yeah.
been shops closing down. Like, how's things closed for you, or not closed, but like changed?
So changed. So obviously I started when I was obviously really young. I had a goldfish. As bad as I'm going to admit it, I had a goldfish in probably a tank this big when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I literally was none of this Anubias or plants back then. It was just the colourful gravel, the hang on the back filter, and the
gravel.
That fish is still alive today. That goldfish. It's in the pond at the parents. This thing,
Wow.
we got it from a fair. It was about this little common goldfish thing. You get the fairy liquid. You get the scrubber out when it's chance to the water. Get the gravel out. Get the pink or whatever. I think it's like blue gravel. We used to use like 6, and that thing's still going. Literally got it in a bag in the fair, and the thing's still. The fish today, you look at them funny, and they die. Whereas back then, it was like get a bit of fairy liquid in there, get some colourful gravel, and you're sorted. Good to go.
It's crazy because I think like the hardiness of I think genuinely the hardiness of fish is like dropped down. I think obviously we all
inbreeding, isn't it? A lot of it, I think.
Interbreeding, I think, because obviously there's the mass production of things, but also I'd say the fact that I think goldfish obviously they're just mass produced. I think there's I don't even know what the actual like statistics are of how many goldfish are bred a day, but I'd definitely say in the thousands a day.
Millions, that probably.
Yeah.
My missus has just texted me saying she's just found a dead orange Bolivian tetra again. Yeah, they keep dropping like flies. Yeah, that's a weird thing. As I was just saying about genetics, fish. For example, none of your fish. There's nothing wrong in that time, but the orange Bolivians, they've been in the fish shop that I got them from, something fishy, for 6 months, 4 to 6 months. Perfectly fine, fed live food and all the high quality food every day. Go in my tank. They're there for months. Sound, see fungus, and then they all drop. It's crazy. But yeah, I'll get on to how I started anyway. Or how like things have changed. Obviously, I was saying about a big fat goldfish in a bowl. But we went to Lister Drive. If you know. It's around the corner. It's in Newsham Park in Liverpool, and it's a Lister Drive Fisheries. Now, I'll be honest, all the even slightly advanced fish keepers, if you've just stepped out of keeping goldfish in a small box, you probably know that place is yeah. I mean, listen, they get good pond fishing, but obviously I think in my opinion,
don't ever buy a fish from Lister Drive. I'm warning you all now.
I bought CPDs from there, almost put them in my tank and spotted columnaris. So yeah, listen, I want that shop to do well because it's a local business. I just think it needs a massive revamp. But I remember we got these goldfish, and I got a white goldfish from Lister Drive. Don't know why it was white. It never changed colour. They said, "Oh, it's a special rare type." Nah, that thing was on its last legs. It's seen a ghost. It was like. I thought I had the platinum goldfish.
You walk into the fish room in that gaff, lad, and it stinks of death. Like that's not normal for a fish room. No fish room I know stinks of death.
Warm. Very warm.
Especially not somewhere where you're meant to be buying this fish from.
I found them. I sometimes found them selling mad stuff. That I went in there and they had an African butterfly fish just chilling. I was like, "What? Where'd you get that from?" But they had it. Anyways, I went there. I got some goldfish, chucked it in there, and I also got obviously, as Dylan was saying, you get a goldfish from the fair. I also got this little one, and I buzzed off it. Went to Southport Fair, and you have to hook a duck. You pay
Yeah.
like a couple of quid to hook a duck, and you had to pay a
Goldfish.
far more to get a tank for it. It was pink gravel in a little carry-on, like little
Yeah.
like
Little
that.
colourful lid.
Yeah, like that. And it had a handle on top.
Yeah. It's like a bucket.
Yeah, and the goldfish. I like punished one of the goldfish and took it out and kept it in like a frying pan of because I thought it killed the other goldfish. Now I had fin rot or whatever from whatever it was in. Obviously, it was in this big barrel and there was goldfish, and it's crazy to think that I don't think that's allowed anymore, is it? You can't get goldfish from
No.
a fin.
It's banned, wasn't it?
Yeah, just hook a duck and you get a goldfish. I was buzzing off it. It was like, oh, I won that goldfish. I saved its
Takeaway
life.
goldfish.
And you probably
But,
still can somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere definitely. When Southport opens again, I'm sure.
Still sneak some goldfish in.
There's still probably left over in that bottle. It'd still probably be more alive in the bottle than in a certain shop.
A little
But honestly, I think it's crazy the standard of fish keeping and how things is. Yeah, that is Scouse Scaper Mia. My missus like, who's that?
Who's that?
Mia's just went so sad. Dead fish stink, man. Obviously,
The one and only.
the big man. But yeah, so I started 6 years ago, and I think a lot of people in here like can say, because we're all Northwest based, the amount of shops that have closed down in the past 5 years has been ridiculous. Even yourself, Dylan, you've been obviously since COVID, so like 3 to 4 years now. You've probably even seen so many places have closed down.
More than I know.
And like you've been here longer, so you've probably seen how many were open compared to how many that are left now. For me to go to like a place that I need to get like more specific fish, but bar the basic stuff, I have to travel.
Yeah.
It takes me longer to go to a fish shop than it does to get to Amsterdam. I'm on the bus going to Narnia and back, and then I'm probably getting a train to Preston, or I'm going to here in Wigan, and then I'm going Finest, and then obviously you've got Jim who runs Pet Aqua. Shout out to him, he's a lovely bloke, but obviously he only gets fish from breeders or somewhere in the UK. He can't import anything like these places. There was the Wave Chinook as well, and that shut down because obviously the poor gent passed away. He was sound as well, and it's sad to see so many places closing down. Adam Fish and come buy fish from me, lol. It'd be easier probably, Jack, for me to get on a plane, go to you and go back than it would to get to Pier. It's quicker. But obviously you don't have raccoon tetra. Or zebra pleco. You might do soon though, on the rate you're going. But yeah, it's wild. You know, since I started, even the advice from what shops are giving you though, it's all amped up. I think it's a lot more serious. Even Pet at Home want to ask what your housing situation is when you go in. Apparently now, do you want to know if you rent or you own? Otherwise, they won't sell you nothing. Apparently,
I mean, at least they're doing something.
That's the worst thing, Pets at Home. Like, I was at the one up the road by ours, and I was stood there, and this woman was like, "So, what can I have?" And the girl's like, "Hang on a minute." And she walked, like, I was stood the other side of the rack, like the display. So she walked around, said to her supervisor, "What can she have?" And she's like, "She can have 4 fish." And she's like, "You can have 4 fish." And she's like, "Well, how many plants can I have?" So wait there and come back round. And I was like, "What's going on here?" Like, I need to be able to answer these basic questions. She went, "She can have 1 plant." And I was like, "What are you on about? She can put as many plants as she wants in." And this woman was like, "How do you know?" I thought, well, it's like...
Swap that round. 4 plants, 1 fish.
Yeah.
1 minnow.
Do you know, I was talking, right, to some lad, and he was saying to, like, he worked in one of the shops round here somewhere in the Northwest, and he made all the custom-built tanks for them a few years ago. And he said that they're, like, Pets at Home, and I think he said Maidenhead, but he was like, Pets at Home are like the only shop in the country who can buy enough glass in bulk to do, like, $1 per gallon sales. He's like, but they just won't do it.
Yeah.
He's like, every other shop just can't buy glass to get that much of a discount where they could do that sort of thing. And then, like, all of us would have better quality tanks, wouldn't we? Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone's like, in this country, it's like, you go in with 500 quid and you come out with it, like, 150 litre tank.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the prices are mad.
In America, like you watch them, don't you, on the YouTube, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I bought like whole fish room for $100,
Yeah,
but all the Brits are like, what? Yeah,
Yeah.
mate.
I spent 50 quid on a kit tank the other day. That was a 30 litre. Like, it didn't even come with a heater. I've had to whack my own heater in.
That was 50 good.
Mad, innit? Like,
That's a 30 by 30 by 30. Tiny.
I'd rather clap my hands together with...
Yeah.
you go into
LFS
these
and
shops and you spend like 120 quid on a fish tank, and you're like, set it up, and you're like, what do we do with it now? And they're like, cycle it for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You need to use 60 quid's worth of chemicals to cycle your tank, and you're like, all right, so you put all these chemicals in, and you walk in, you're like, I've cycled it, what can I have? And they're like, nothing, it's too small. And you're like, well, just let me buy all this stuff. What can I put in it? And they're like, you can have a shrimp, maybe. But like, you can't keep nothing else in there.
I don't get it. They have this point system. They go, oh yeah, a rainbow shark's 2 points. But then an Amano shrimp's like 3 points.
Oh,
Yeah.
the point system's mess, isn't it?
So you're like, oh, you've got 10 points for like a 60 litre. Okay, 2 points on a rainbow shark, and then like a molly's about like 5 points. Fair enough, they do go to the toilet a lot, but like the size of the fish.
They have clown loach now, don't they, in some shops?
I'll be honest, I've never heard that in my life. I don't pay attention to none of that, mate. It's all a scam. Anything most like big fish gaffers saying you have to scam to get you to spend more dough.
Make some money.
You don't need half the shit to sell you. You know what I mean?
No.
Use the language. That was the first one.
It's quick, there you go.
It's coming. It's always coming.
Yeah.
I was going to say, FM said good LFS. Do you mean the local fair, or is there an actual shop up there? I'm unsure, sorry.
That'll be, what's it called now? No, it won't be Aqualife. It'll be Aqua Home, won't it? That'll be Southport.
I haven't been, to be honest, I haven't been to any fish shops in Southport bar Pets at Home. I haven't bought anything, don't worry. I just walked in there and walked out very quickly because it was tragic.
The closest I've been there is Bersco, when I had me reef tanks.
Yeah.
And you could walk in there and walk out like 200 quid later. Easy.
Bersco, I've been in Bersco because it was right near my uni in their jail. That was at the time I was new to the hobby, so I was like, oh, this is mad. And then like I went there like a couple of weeks later and went, but each to their own.
The reef stuff.
The reef stuff, yeah, no, the reef stuff was amazing. But then I obviously I went in there. Was it the same shop? No, it wasn't the same shop. Sorry, I got that wrong. There's one that's slap bang, and they don't sell fish anymore. I think they had one cherry, but this is how tragic it was. I went in there, and it wasn't even a fish shop. It was like an old pet shop. And I went in, it was just a tank this big. Oh, no, double the size of this, and I had one cherry barb in. And you're selling it for 12 quid. I thought, where are we, Canada? But yeah, what's called? I'll stem into this one anyway. Since obviously I've just binned off whatever I was going on to ADHD and that, obviously. But yeah, local fish keeping anyway. So I was gonna. So we've spoke about like how things have changed for us in the hobby and stuff like that. But like, how do we feel about like? Obviously, we all in like the northwest north area. Like, how do we feel about like local shops and like how do obviously no like negative talking because the small businesses trying to get by, it's understandable and stuff like that, of course. But like, what do you think could be improved and what do you think they are doing well, etc.? Like, what are you thinking?
Certain shops.
I don't know doing a sound, to be honest with you. I don't know what. To be honest, it's all this. What you call with the rising prices of everything, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That's why people are going under and that. It's like it's hard to keep them open. There's that many tanks in a lecky and everything else. They've got to, you know, the minimum profit on fish is crazy. Like they've got to sell so many fish to make profit, mad. But I don't know. I reckon they're doing sound as is. You don't need to improve much. It's just it's the hobby in general, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And like I say, the rising prices of everything is a joke. So it's expected some things are gonna go under in it. You know what I mean?
It's mad because when I last went to Andy's, I think they were rethinking of opening up an extension, so they were extending. But then when the Lecky bill went like through the roof, basically you can tell that I'm getting comfortable now because the Scouse is coming out and everyone's saying, "What's he saying? Can you repeat that? What's Lecky? Electricity? When the electricity bill went up, pretty much." Pretty much. They were saying that the expansion that they were doing, they had to just scrap it. So like in their shop, they have like half of like a wall full of tanks just stopped. And like I was speaking to him, he said it's slowly going down again, thankfully. So he's thinking of opening that back up again. But obviously, a lot of I've been speaking to quite a few, a lot of the shops that have been going for longer and like Maidenheads and stuff like that too. A lot of the shops that are going under just can't really keep up, like you were saying, Vic, because they just can't keep up with the amount of like profit that they need to turn over. If there's anything like specifically targeted towards like nanofish or whatever, it may do well, but like it may not do enough for profit and stuff like that. So obviously the newest shops that I'm aware of that have opened in the past few years, near Widnes and Runcorn being Finest and Premier. So there's not much really in the actual Liverpool area. Everything's kind of on the outskirt, isn't it? Like apart from
it's your family run ones and your little ones that are struggling, isn't it? Like your Maidenheads and stuff like that. They're like a chain basically. Like me and you could start a Maidenhead right now. It's just a franchise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like,
and you've got the backing of the big company.
Yeah.
So it's not as hard for them. Whereas like your little gaffs, they're struggling, aren't they? You know what I mean? Like that Waverton Aquarium that shut down. Before that shut down, he was saying literally it's because of the Lecky and all that. I can't keep up with it no more. You know what I mean? It's just like it's mad. For the little ones, it hurts them, but for the bigger ones, you don't really see any difference, do you? You know what I mean? And especially like Maidenhead, they've got contracts with like the garden centres, haven't they? So like they've got that base no matter what.
People are coming in anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like I don't know for yourself, Dylan. Anyway, like we're talking on like the general Merseyside area. Obviously, you've got quite a few your side of the water, haven't you, Keith? But as for like me and Michael, it's obviously we've got to do a bit of travelling to get to somewhere that'll be able to get what we need. Like what about yourself? Obviously, you're in Warrington, so you're only round the corner from Manchester or Wigan, so it's quite nice for you.
There's a lot of overlap, to be honest. Obviously, you've mentioned Finest. I go to Finest quite a lot. You've also got Pier Aquatics. That's in Wigan, so that's not 20 minutes, half an hour on the road. Then you've got, obviously, Premier Aquatics as well, which is in Runcorn, as you said.
Yeah.
And there's one local shop, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Fish Cove. It's run by some husband and wife. I go there quite a lot. It's quite just a small little shop, but pretty much looks like someone's fish room, and very old school. But shops wise, to be honest, it's pretty similar to what you guys do, to be honest, because we're quite close. So you got your Finest, your Pier. Then I'm gonna go traveling and go down south to like Wharf and stuff like that. Wharf Aquatics, GM Aquatics, but local wise, there's not a lot of shops anymore around here. You've basically got Finest, Pier, and that's Premier Aquatics. There's three main ones, and you get the odd small ones which are shutting down. I think that Fish Cove is struggling now because a lot of people will either go to Premier or go to Finest, and they don't know about him. Obviously, he's been a small shop. It's quite a shame. I think he's struggling a lot with obviously the rising costs in fish. He can't get every single fish. He's got to think about. You can't just get like an arowana in and it sit there for 6 months. You've got to keep churning to keep alive, basically. But which puts a lot of people off because obviously some people want more specific things. Which obviously he's going to get more of your guppies, you more people can keep. Which then
Finest and Premier aren't even really that close to you, are they?
Finest is what 15 minutes down the road.
Oh, okay. That's
20
not
minutes.
bad.
Then Premier's probably the same the other way, pretty much.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite lucky.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking because they're like they're on like industrial estates, aren't they? Now most of them are moving to like industrial estates and warehouses and stuff like that. Like the little local shops are like they're gone, aren't they?
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I used to be one on Tube Roof, the Pet Shop Boys, if anyone knows that. But
I've heard of it,
this was years and years and years, 20 plus years ago. even more probably. I'm showing my age there, like, but yeah, they're all gone. It's all the little ones, like the normal shops, they're just non-existent because of the prices. Like I say, they've all got to move out into warehouse territory in the middle of nowhere. It's sad, really, you know what I mean? It's as if the hobby's dying, but we know ourselves it's massive and it's not dying at all. It's growing, if anything.
I guess, in the sense, I think it's like with a lot of things with social media and all things, that a lot of these smaller businesses, because they've been going for so long, if they don't leave, like for example, Pet Aqua Jim, he's a lovely bloke. It is probably the last small local like fish shop that you'll find in Liverpool, and he's been going for over 40 years. And he just has no clue about social media and nothing like that. And it's unfortunate, because if he had a clue, that shop could be going through the roof. But of course, obviously, it's his livelihood, and I don't even think he wants that. He's just enjoying what he's got of it now. And they'll all go under if you don't do your socials properly. Because I've noticed some shops will do live streams of unboxings. Some will do YouTube videos, even
better doing that.
TikToks, stuff like that. If you're doing that, then like that brings a lot of people in. It's a good way to get them in. But as you were saying, Michael, it's a lot more people going into these industrial states. I don't know if that is what we're at now, that these places obviously.
Well,
it's
I think Finest Aquatics, they actually started in that warehouse that they're in now.
Filter.
That was just their warehouse, and they were online only for the longest time. And then because it was going that well online and people actually wanted it, they opened the doors of the warehouse, and it's like became a shop now. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a mad one, isn't it? Because the demand is there, like.
The demand's there, and the issue is that you've got all these new fish keepers coming in, and you've got people like us. I don't know how big my influence or any of ours is, but say someone watches one of our videos and like, right, I want to go and get myself, like, for example, a woodcat, or I want to get myself a zebra pleco. Then they're like, or they get, obviously they could go to you if they want to, but like, say you're not local, say they're in another country, or say they're down south and the only thing they got round the corner is a pet home. They walk in there, and obviously you learn a lot of stuff online. And I say this to a lot of people. Obviously, I think this is the new wave of like fish keeper now, where a lot of people have been educated. Like myself, I'll openly put my hands up. I learned a lot of the stuff just through YouTube in itself, through the people online.
You say hold your hands up, like that's something to be ashamed of, or something. Like how many knowledgeable people are putting videos out on YouTube for people to learn? Like that's what it's there for. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you go. I thought, like, when I first got in, I went. You know what? I'll say that I said this in one of my previous lives. I went into the pet owned by ours on Edge Lane. And I'm trying not to get too specific, because again, I don't need washing machines about. But like, I went there and I actually got some all right advice. Now, it wasn't the greatest. They told me that it needed to be set up for a week. Most places just say whack this in, you can throw the fish in straight away. They said no, I need to cycle it for a week. So I was like, okay, that's sound. And then they said I could only put 1 or 2 fish in. So I got 2 cardinals and whacked them in. One of them died because it had a deformity, and I was like sat there almost crying, going, "It was my responsibility to keep it alive." And now I'm like, "Oh, fish is dead. Oh, it's sad, but it is what it is." But yeah, like I was told some decent information, but again, when they go into these places, the trust, especially when they're brand new, the trust in the source. If you see a bunch of fish around and it's someone's job to sell you something, you trust in the information that they're feeding you. And obviously, when you've got these pet homes and these big ones, like say in America, the PetSmart and all that, you're dependent on the information that they're feeding you, especially if you're new into the hobby. And then when you're getting sent them, given the wrong information, and I know for an obsession, I just said obsession because I've read something in the comments. For a fact that when someone gets into a hobby brand new, a lot of the time when something dies, they're disheartened by it and they go, "Oh, that's it. I can't keep fish alive. That's it. I'll leave." And I think it's the message is persistence, but also, with the local fish stores, I think you'll know someone, you'll look someone in the eye, and the information will be flooding out. They'll tell you the right stuff. But again, obviously, these small shops, they're dying off one by one.
They put people off before they even get started. It's awful because people they go buy 2 fish, they die, and they go, oh, forget it, move on to something else. They never get started properly.
Yeah. Exactly, and I'm not speaking about anywhere by ours because I think a lot of shops have been really good when I went in when I was early on and even now. But like I think like Fish Shop Matt was saying, like a lot of these places are a bit standoffish. Like someone will come in, they're new, and they'll just kind of down talk them like they're an idiot. And some people obviously. It's good to give them the information, but don't down talk someone and like belittle them because they don't have a clue. Tell them the right things, give them the right information, so on. Like it's just a effort that needs to be put up across the board, kind of thing. But yeah, I think the dangerous part about it, I think, is that, as you were saying, a lot of these shops now, they start off as an online business, and a lot of people are now starting to lean into towards buying in fish online. So the only places that will be surviving now is these warehouses because they're also an online supplier.
Yeah.
And I think that's now where, I don't know, is that where the hobby's going? I think it is, and it's kind of sad to see because you just won't get these shops anymore that we grew up with, or what was he local. It's sad to see, as you were saying. The Wave Chinook, he closed down the Marine 6 months beforehand because obviously Marine's more expensive to run overall in the system, and then obviously he ended up only having like a bit of fresh water, and after that it was gone, and it was sad to see something like that had been going for so long closed down.
Yeah, it's madness. Like 50 years or something, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Funny enough, before he passed, I was having a couple of drinks with my cousin, and I bumped into him, and I think he was quite hammered, and so was I. But I walked over to him, and I shook his hand and went, "I appreciate you, like your advice and that, and like what you've done for the hobby and that over the years." Because I think it was like a couple of months after the shop was closed down. I was like, "Thanks a lot. I've got 3 coolie loaches in my tank," and he was just grinning, like happy to hear that. Because I bought them from there, and I was like, "Yeah, I got them from there," and I was buzzing about it. Like,
yeah, he's just dead sound fella, isn't he?
Yeah, but we'll move off that topic anyway and go on to our next one anyway. I think we'll do this one. We'll do this one. Have I written it down? I don't think I have. Right, so we'll do this one anyway. So now that is shut off, I was also going to say, what do you bar the shops? What do you think the local community is like for everyone? What's the local fish keeping community like for everyone?
Pretty good, to be honest.
I think it's boss over on the Whittle. Like there's like quite a good few breeders over here and stuff. So
I think for me over here, like the other side, not the dark side, the other side.
The Jedi's.
Jedi.
Nah, I reckon it's non-existent, to be honest with you, over here.
Is it?
No.
You know what? I've never heard of any shops over in Liverpool.
It's for me, fishing. You get people with fish tanks. Like for the aquascaping, nobody's even ever heard of aquascaping. Oh. It's like it's mental, you know. It's honestly it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I go and I do maintenance for tanks, whatever else. They're all just plastic plants, fish tank, just your bog standard. I got bog standard fish tank, like but yeah, I don't know. It's not really a thing. There's only a couple of people I know that do aquascaping like me, you know what I mean? So yeah, non-existent really.
I thought it'd be bigger over in Liverpool.
I'm a lonely soul.
It's mad because I've done a lot of the travelling over to the Wirral for my fish. Like,
we've got to we've got to travel. You know what I mean? We've got to travel.
There isn't a lot going on, and then there's finest, but it takes me an hour and a half on a bus to get there.
Yeah,
I've got to get a bus there, get off, get another bus, get off, and then walk down this country road for about half an hour, and then go through the industrial street in the back.
Yeah.
Because originally when I searched it on Google to get there, I didn't know how to get there on foot until someone, I think he doesn't work there anymore, his name was Josh, he does aquascaping.
Oh, and, Josh Saunders?
Yeah,
man, I know Josh.
He's a Premier now, isn't he?
I think so, yeah. And he said, oh yeah, mate, you have to search the Beehive Inn on Google because you can't search it. Because I searched it and I was on the phone to him and I went there when it was snowing with my cousin. I was like a Jedi going through the forest. It was snowing everywhere. I'm walking through this forest thinking, oh, I'm going to get to the other side. I found a canal. I thought, right, I'll try and walk through. I got through to the other side of the forest. I'm on the motorway. I was like, oh, I almost got run over. That's what me is saying there. That the sleet and rain miles to get to a fish store. Yeah, it was Finest Aquatics, babe. Yeah, it was mental. So you have to. It's mental.
Yeah, it's Wigan. It's Wigan, isn't it? It's Wigan. Finest Aquatics is in Wigan.
Finest.
Witness.
Witness, innit?
Witness, that's the one. Sorry,
Premier's in Wigan. Premier.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Wigan is crazy rural. They love the speed cameras around there as well.
Oh yeah, they love them. In coffee.
Yeah, but it's a mission. When I say I'm going to the fish shop, it's a day trip. I've got to do it on my day off.
Yeah.
I can't finish work and go to the fish shop because it takes me that long to get there. And then by the time I'm in there, when I'm in the fish shop, I don't know about how long you spend in the fish shop. I spend
Hours.
from an hour.
Too long.
I spent 4 hours impressing you
Yeah.
there. I don't know how. I was just there. I was just chilling. I was vibing. I don't know how I'd spent that much time. I've got too much time on my hands, to be honest. But
yeah, I go for a specific thing.
Yeah,
find that specific thing and then go to outside. I'll put that on the counter and now I'll go and have a look for something else.
I like them. I'll go over there.
Going for plants. No, not even for plants. Going for top safe. I leave with about 50 plants and fish that I can't keep.
That's literally my dance.
Do you know, I used to think I'd made it. You know, when you walk in your local fish shop and you go, "Do you want a brew?" And I was like, I've made it in life. My local fish shop make me a brew. And now the boss comes out and goes, "Don't make him a brew. He'll be here all day." And I'll be paying a ton to stand and talk to him all day.
It's mental. As I said, it's just a day trip in itself. It's sad because I want to support local businesses around here. And the only one there is obviously Maidenhead Liverpool, but that's in Speak. That's still a good 40 minutes away. And Sarah, who runs it, she's great. Then there's obviously 45 minutes your way. There's something fishy, and then there's Andy's.
What, no, it's like Merseyside Aquatic warehouse.
That's also 40 to 50 minutes away.
No,
on a bus. I get the bus.
Man, it's by the Jacobs.
Yeah, no, it's still like 40 minutes on the bus stop.
Is it?
Yeah.
Never for you.
Yeah.
Wow. I was thinking you were meaning Keith or something like that. I mean, that's far. It's only about 20 minutes for me. Surely not even that.
Yeah, but I think you're a bit closer up that way, aren't you? Whatever that way is, anyway.
Yeah. That's my go-to, really. I go there and there's nowhere else. You know what I mean? I never go to Lister unless it's for like something, you know, like Aqua Safe or whatever, something that's bottled and, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Even the tap safe has to see.
Yeah, something that can't be messed with. Yeah, you got it right. That's it.
No, white spot on the top safe.
I was going to move on to this one anyway to ask ourselves questions. Has anyone got any questions for each other?
Not that I can think.
Teach me how to aquascape.
Tumbleweed.
Right, well, you're here with an aquascape and you're with a Wallstad fella, and then you're with someone that thinks he knows how to aquascape but doesn't. But yeah, go on.
Teach me.
Any questions? Ask away.
Let me think, lad. I've got a question for you.
One of you teach me to aquascape.
Since this is a fish talking thing, what's your favourite fish?
I'll answer that now. Mal's just said, let's get Adam a bike. I do have a bike, but if I were to try and get to the fish shops that I want to get to, I can't even bike there because I'd be on the motorway like some... I've seen, by the way, I've been on the motorway before in a car and I've seen an Uber Eats driver get pulled over by the police. You're not allowed to go on the motorway with a bike. I mean, common sense first of all, but yeah, no. Oh, there you go. I mean, go on. I'll let Mick answer that first. The big Scouse Scaper here.
Lad, honestly, I couldn't tell you. just to be honest, it depends the size of the tank. But if I look at a tank and if it's like this or whatever, I'm instantly thinking it's got to be. You got to try and make the tank look bigger than it is, and then I'll come up with some sort of design. But it depends whether I've got rocks, stones, what type of stones. You know what I mean? What type of wood, what type of substrate I'm using. It all depends really. You know what I mean? It depends what I've got, what materials I've got to work with.
Yeah.
And then it'll just come from the dome.
What about yourself, Keith?
Well, what's up? That's me again. Just listening to him talking. I'm like, yeah, this is off this live stream. Oh, yeah, in a minute. I was like that.
You've got the loading symbol on your brain now.
Just
Right.
pure proper hyper focused on listening to him. Like,
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
man.
like, how do you aquascape a tank? Or actually, you know what? Throw this out the window. I've got a question here and it's already written down, and I think it's a good one that stems into both anyway. Right. There you go.
The best planted tank set depends what you want to do. Like, at the moment, I'm all into plant farming, so I just want to set tanks up and leave them alone to grow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Wow,
So, like,
style.
I've just been like dating them, and then you just need to food them for micronutrients and the flying. So, like, but I've got like I had high tech tanks in the house where it was like using CO2, highlights, and birds and stuff. So, like, it depends what you want to do. Like, I like a good aquascape. I've got tons of I've got like Sirius stone, like tons of it. I walked into Premier either last year or the year before, and I was like, "Where's your Sirius stone?" He said, "Over there," and I just bought all of it. And I've done the same with the Dragonstone. So I've got like tons of scaping supply. But I ordered from Aquarium Gardens, I think it was. I ordered like 100 quid's worth of Manzanita, and I got 4 sticks, and I was fuming. Like 4 sticks about this big. And I was like, yeah, that's 30 centimeters. Like, why didn't you read it? Like, there's like 25 to 30 centimeters, and I got 4 sticks. And I was like, how's that 100 quid? I could have bought a fish tank.
You know what? It's more expensive to get hardscaping supplies. Obviously, Mick and Joe have a little secret supply place, but like when you're getting it from the fish shops, you're spending a fortune.
Yeah.
Because it's all by the kg, you know, or by the length of your wood.
Yeah, the length of the wood, though.
Yeah. But that's the things. Like, I watch someone like Geordie Scaper. I watch him do escape, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I've used spiderwood," and I'm like, "Wow, that scape's amazing. I'm going to go and buy a piece of that spiderwood."
Yeah.
And I walk in a fish shop, and it's about you, but the spiderwood in my fish shop looks like it's been run over. It's just not the same thing.
Yeah, this big.
Looks like my dad said the spider with a newspaper. Do you know what I mean?
Ridiculous. Coming soon, though, boys. The best prices in the UK. Never mind the Northwest.
What's that?
Gonna blow everybody out the water.
Big plug. Get on him if you haven't already. Someone who's modern right now, please drop his channel link, and I think his Instagram's on his channel. If not, drop his Instagram, you'll find it, please. Yeah, but the best planted tank setup at the minute, I think, like, if you're setting up a tank that's easy to go, and you don't want to, you know, be dosing fertilizer left, right, and center, it's obviously your plant selection. I know that you've done a fair amount of, and you've got a fair amount of Anubias in your tanks, Dylan. But like, if you say you don't want to use aquasoil, say you don't want to use any soil, you just want to use sand, whack in root tabs if you want to use like stem plants. Obviously, it's a bit more expensive that way, and the longevity isn't as good with the nutrients and stuff like that. If not, you could just get an easy grown one like them Nefolius Flora, unless you're me. You could put it in a high tech setup and kill it.
Sorry,
somehow.
lad, I was just reading the question here.
Yeah, I somehow managed to kill Flora. But yeah, you can use easy stem plants, Anubias, epiphytes and stuff like that, and all you need is maybe a bit of liquid fit. If not, you don't even need to use that. Just stuff that's easy that'll grow on wood, Java fern, Anubias, etc. And to set up a tank, you can watch any of our channels.
Yeah.
But right out the window. Oh, actually, I was gonna say, what do
So
we
that's the worst
prefer?
thing for me, that ad, recording, setting the tank up, because like I'll buy all the stuff, I'll go home, set it up, and then I'm just like that on my YouTube channel. I'll set this tank up, like totally forgot to
Yeah.
record it. I'm not excited to do it.
I'll start taking my tank apart sometimes because I'll do it and I'm like, I haven't pressed record.
Yeah.
I'll take a
all the
picture and be
time.
like, right, get that out, and then I'm like, that doesn't look the same. It's doing me.
Do you know, I've done that where I was like, set it all up and I'm like, record it for an hour and it was just my ass on the screen. Like, what?
Do you know the amount of times I've been scraping glass and all you can see is this here swinging past the camera lens?
Just the mustache brushing against the glass.
Ridiculous.
Oh yeah, oh.
Don't keep the audio on. Put that tranquil music on, lad, and throw it on the reel.
The amount of times I've done that, and it's just me Calvin Klein grogs in the middle of the camera like that.
I was gonna say anyway, quickly to expand on that. Do we prefer no CO2, CO2, or Wallstad? Talk to me generally.
Depends what you want to grow.
Mm.
I'd never use CO2, so I wouldn't.
Prop.
It's a bit like CO2 is amazing. Like,
DM me, lad.
if you're
Now, do you know what? CO2, like, if you want to grow plants fast and lush, get on it.
yeah, it is amazing stuff. Like,
You don't need it, but
no,
it's like
just
it's like
takes longer.
juice. It's like being on the steroids for plants. You know what I mean?
It is, yeah, definitely.
So, it's not needed, but it's nice.
Especially with stems. Like, I set up my tank, and these stems are just like, it took ages for them to start transitioning and stuff. Put CO2 on, and within a month they were like double in size, easy.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, though, it's like easy to go wrong, isn't it? With CO2, like you overdosing with ferts and stuff,
Yeah, man.
like your balance will just kick out. So
Especially if you've got fish in that as well, it's a whole other thing, isn't it? And I mean, you've got the CO2 levels can be too dangerous for the fish, and
yeah, it's
like
mine.
not to have any fish.
That's a good idea, like because I had me like your drop checker, and I did the back of the tank, and I was like, why does that look white? Like it was just clear. And then when I went round, it was yellow, and all the fish were like at the top, and I was like, oh no. It was great when I had Manica Brew that were about that big, and it was sound, but then they ended up that big, and it's just I was feeding them. And I was like, where's all this hair algae coming from? And I'm thinking, well, I'm feeding like 5 Manica Brew in a 180 litre tank. That's where all the algae's coming from.
FM saying he's selling hardscape.
Yeah,
FM is.
Am I selling hardscape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the good stuff, FM. Get on him. And the other good stuff. Right. Right. So the next one I was going to go on to anyway is what have I got left here? Right, there you go. What do you enjoy the most about the hobby? We'll go on to Dylan first and go around to Keith and then Michael. Let's go.
The main thing I enjoy the community. Just the community of meeting people, and as well just keeping fish in general, just creating a little environment of whatever fish you want, whatever environment you want. It's just I find it quite relaxing. We've got a display in there, and you'll sit in front of it, and it's like moving art sometimes when we scape it. I'm not the best scaper compared to everyone here, but as the community is the main thing for me. Meeting people who share the same passion for fish, to be honest. That's the best part about the hobby.
Nice. And let's go on to Keith.
Definitely the community, like the people I've met through the hobby. Excuse me, like I worked with lads who for years never spoke to them, and then one day I was like, what are your hobbies? And they're like, fish tanks. And that was it. The next minute we're like going to Premier and Wigan and all over the show, going to fish shops and been up to Preston, been to loads of excuse me, like the auctions and stuff. And some of the people I've met through the hobby, like there was an old boy called Dave who lived up the road, and he lived in this little house. And we went through, and he had this like massive shed in the garden, and he had like a
I
massive
don't know
fish
where this is
house.
leading.
It's just the people you meet, it's like, and like the stuff they get up to in the back gardens and stuff. It's just some crazy people you meet in the hobby, isn't it?
Oh,
In it's mental. Like since I've started, you've since I've started, I've met so many people. Oh, the lights going off. Since don't fall over. I felt my chair tipping, and the pistol was looking me in the eye.
Imagine just
Yeah.
seeing that, like a fish tank landing at him in the background.
You want to go for a swim? Yeah, no, it's mental because I'd say for myself, it's meeting people obviously because like before I started YouTube or posted anything, I think one of the first people that messaged me actually was Mick. Like he was like, "Lad, you're the first Scouser that I've heard say Aquascape," because like. No, you know, in Liverpool, not many people are into it. I mean, as you were saying, there's not a lot of people, and maybe they are, but they're very closed off about it, or they're not open about it, they're not posting about it. So it's one of them that the only way you find out is through the fish club. So if you go to the fish shop and then you're like, oh, you have a set, oh, can I go around yours and have a look at your setups? Bar that you won't have much of a clue about it. So it's so yeah, it's one of them that I'd say community is great, but we're not having the I think before I speak, so my words stuck. Yeah, I think community first of all, but I think also obviously it's just constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. I've got bad ADHD. I'll look at my tank and go, right, that's finished now, and then a week later be like, oh, could add that. Add another plant. Add another rock. Or get another fish. Get out. Then move the wood. Oh, rescape time. I've spent most of today. It's my day off work, and I've been moving the rocks and wood. Like my mum's come in. I'm sat there in my hoodie and my underwear, just like this, hunched over, moving stuff. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Moving the rocks in here, aquascaping." She's like, "Just walked
Yeah,
out."
it's quality that though. It's always evolving, isn't it?
It's always evolving. I've said this in a video as well about the fact that you spend so much time just either upgrading or finding new things out, and then like you'll see a fish do something that you've never seen before. For example, I seen a pandagora at like a cichlid for 6 months until I got fed up with it and it got kicked out. But you know, weird behaviors, weird like things that happen. Maybe that you'll kill a plant that shouldn't be killed. Maybe you'll see a plant grow unbelievable in an environment that it shouldn't. The Monte Carlo in a shrimp bowl, or all these weird things. The hobby's different for everyone. Everyone's experience is different. We can all go off the general basis of things, but it's different for everyone. Every fish tank is different. That bowl is a completely different ecosystem than that tank. Like it's all different and it's always changing. I think that's why I can't get out of it, because I had a point a couple of years ago, during COVID, that it was like bad and you knew we weren't going great, and that I was like, right, I'm sick of this, but I kept it there anyway. And I was like, I can't get rid of it. I'd lost fish, but I got more, and then I was back into it. Then I was like, well, there you go. Because I feel like a lot of people have that breaking point where you lose fish and then you go, this is it. And then you get that, then you get more, and then you're like, sad. Like that. That's how it is. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. The people are great in the community, and we just want it to grow more. I think that's just the goal of my channel anyway. I just want to try and make this hobby bigger, make it a bit more accepted, and like more people in, and give the right education too. Whether that's through myself educating people or going to someone else and they'll give the education. It's a good one for sure. But I'll get on to yourself, Mick, anyway, because I'll speak forever.
What do I enjoy most about the hobby? That's it's a tough question, to be honest with you. Like you said, the community and that, yeah. Like when I met Joe,
Yeah.
And I realised there was someone local also into aquascaping. That was like the best thing ever for me. I went straight round to his house looking at escapes. We were going to workshops, aquascaping workshop up and down the country and stuff like that. So the community of it, like you say. But personally, I just like scaping tanks, you know. The process of actually doing it, scaping it, seeing the piece of art that I've created, and then chilling with it for a month or 2, maybe 3, depending on the dance, and then rescaping it again. You know what I mean? I just enjoy the whole process of doing the actual scape itself, you know.
Yeah, I think like as you were saying there as well, it's something that's like really good for mental health, and it's like therapeutic too. I think a lot of people that like struggle with your mental health, if you just sat there, you could every day I'll come home from work and work is just draining itself, and you'll sit there and you'll just look at your tank. Me missus doesn't even speak to me.
I could get lost sitting, just staring into me. I could get lost for hours, but you know I've got kids and stuff, so they pull you out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I'd be there transfixed forever. You know.
She knows when I come in that I'm gonna sit at the end of my bed and stare into there for like a good half hour before I say a word. I'm just sat there like this. I'm watching if you're looking for things.
What are you looking at?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But you'll see like different behaviors. You're trying to see if the plants are growing. You don't notice until like you've been away a day or 2, and then you come back and like, wow, that's boomed. But then you could be there all week and you go, oh, it hasn't grown, but it actually has. You just because you're so used to it, and it's just great. Just staring in, watching, seeing different behaviors. Oh, that one's flaring up. Oh, that one's chasing the other one. Oh, that's eating a piece of leaf for some reason. I don't know why. It's just funny, isn't it? Like it's a whole
miniature world, isn't it in itself?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That you're watching, that you've created. You're looking at. It's crazy. You know what I mean? It is. It's boss. Felt aspect of the hobby, isn't it? Creating a little world itself. You know what I mean? 100%. And watching it evolve and just live. It's crazy.
I was gonna say as well, back onto Dylan real quick, is that like obviously I can imagine for yourself breeding side of things and stuff like that. I think that reward side of it must be like amazing when it pays off, when you see like, oh, you've got a bunch of fry and you're like, wow, that's great to see them like grow and they're eating well, and then you're able to like flog them on. It must be a bit heartbreaking sometimes because you're like, oh, that's me babies, but
yeah, it's great because every time I walk in the room, though, my other half tells me off for spending too much time in here quite a lot. But every day is like something new, something else is gone in that tank, something changes in that tank. You then you'll see they've had eggs, they've had babies, and a baby's died, and you think you've put all that work into raising them babies, and then it's like it's got the hardest part about it is selling on some of the babies I produce, because I've put some of the albino lasers have spent a good part of 6 months raising the adult group, and I spent probably 3-4 months raising the babies.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you let them go, but everything's changing. Like I'm watching currently, and I've got some Napoensis cories just running up the gas, about to spawn again. But everything's changing constantly, and it's like when I come home from work, like straight in here. Don't even speak to the other half. Straight in here. What's changed today? It's like a story. Always something's going on, whether it's the puffer being grumpy up in the top left, just wanting more food, or it's the little honeycomb cats here, just watch it. You sit in a cave and they'll just watch it. You always feel like you're being watched when you're in here. Something's always changing, which I love about it.
There's a really nice comment for you there as well.
Oh, it's Christian. Still my best stock customer. Yeah, he's took a fair few of. He's after Christian. The honeycomb cats are in here behind me. You know, you're eyeing them up. Watching me currently. 4 of them.
But yeah, I think we've covered that. I'm just checking.
Some of the best fish I've ever bought have been from local breeders because they're already in local water. So they're in similar water parameters. Yeah. They haven't flown halfway around the world in a bag full of ammonia. So to go to someone's house and go, I want that one and that one. So I'm like little Britain there, don't I want that one. So I plan to be able to go to someone's house and go, can I have them? Bring them home. And they're already in similar water, so like there's no. Whereas I bought like stuff that's been shipped from like the Amazon and stuff. Like I bought Rio Nanny, and within a week they're all dead.
Yeah.
Even though I've been like smashing them with meds and stuff, and I've had, like, there was 3 of us, we bought them. We all bought like 6 Rio Nani each. And within a week, all of them were dead. And no one knew why, no one could diagnose nothing.
You don't know
It
where
was
they've come
just, they'd be fine. And then the next morning, one of them be at the bottom of the tank with no signs or symptoms. So there's nothing you can treat for. Because you can't say that's ick or it's
from. They could have been ill when you
pulmonalis. It's just dead, and there's nothing you can just guess.
Sometimes
So,
the wild isn't that causes the problem.
yeah.
They just don't.
It could even be the
well,
pH difference and stuff.
Yeah.
You just don't know, do you?
Yeah, you're doing everything you think that's right.
Everything I've learned over the years, I'm like, right,
Yeah.
what can I do here? And you're just scratching your head. So to be able to go to the local breeder who's done Rio Nane and they're like, they're F1s, and you're like, I don't care if they're not wild. Like, it's the same fish. I don't need to tell people they're wild. Do you know what I mean? That's not the important thing. For me, is to keep fish alive. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And
Well, I would love to go to the Amazon, get my wellies on and get in the river, like, and get some fish.
Yeah.
It'd be boss to do that, like.
Do you know what? I'd set up for Birkenhead Park at the moment. Don't get myself a car.
So I was going to get onto this one. I think I've written this down. Yeah, right. How did you learn to aquascape, Mick?
How did I learn to aquascape? To be honest, I've always been like a bit of an artist. I paint and stuff and make things and things like that. I used to be a joiner and stuff as well, so like I'm quite good at my hands anyway. And then I got into it. I used to keep like little critters and that, spiders and anything really. I had like half terrarium type style things in like Tupperware boxes and that. And then when I found actual aquascaping underwater, I was hooked then, obviously, so I was all in. And then from there, Green Aqua is probably the first people I actually seen and was like, that's next level. Because I knew like Armano and all that. But actually seeing it done, you know, in a YouTube form, that's what got me to be like, all right, Sam, that's me. That's what I'm doing from now on. You know what I mean? Like, fish tanks are gone, aquascapes are in, breeding's gone. It's all about escapes now. And that was it, really. To learning it, you just gotta watch other people do like that. I'm a kinesthetic learner, so I learn best when I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I need to do it myself to learn. So it's all about just getting in there and doing it. To be honest, get your hands wet, you know.
It's good, very good answer, for sure. I think for myself, it was the same like you. I learned through like YouTube, George Farmer, Green Aqua, MJ Aquascaping. There's so many more. I think. Well, there's MD, obviously, Bishop Mart, but obviously they're like the different type. They're like a hybrid of fish keep slash aquascape kind of thing. But that's a thing. Just watching these people do something like that, I was like, because at first I'd seen it, and it felt like quite intimidating, especially watching like the Amano stuff and all that, and people are like drawing triangles on a fish tank, saying, "Oh, it needs to be at this angle and it has to be at this measurement. You got to use 3 rocks," and I'm like, so that's why I'm like, whoa, my head fell off. But aquascaping.
It's an art, lad. It's an art. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, people, they've got rules and whatever, but that's more like, I'd say, along the classic contest style rules and all that type of thing. But aquascaping in general, like, you can throw as many rocks and as many sticks in as you want and call it a day. You know what I mean? It looks good to you. That's all that matters. You know what I mean? Like, there's a sick quote there from Armano, yeah, and he said the best way to find the best hardscape is throw every single stick you've got into a tank until it's full with sticks, nothing else, and then take a stick out one by one until it looked good. Like, it's not. There's no set rule to aquascaping. Like, you just do it. If you like it, then that's all that matters.
You know what's funny, actually, touching on that, the way I found out how I wanted the scape for this tank is I had an idea, and I brought the idea like of having this main piece of wood there, but I never considered reusing the wood that I had from my previous tank.
Yeah, man.
And I do regret it now because it's covered in BBA. Bar that, scape wise, yeah, I put it together and I was like, wow, this looks this is it, and like I threw it in, I threw it all in, but then now a couple months later, I'm like, maybe less is more. So I'm like taking one out and then keeping one. It's always, as I said, that always evolving. But obviously, as you said, throw it all in, which I did, and then it all just kind of clicked in that moment for me, and it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a process. You've got to live with it, haven't you? You know, you sit there and live it. I hardscaped my tank outside. It had been sitting there for about 3 months, just stones in. And every day I'm going in, looking at it, and then eventually I'm like, nah, this needs changing. Took the whole thing out, redone it again. I must have done it about 3 times now, and that's just sitting there with a dry tank, just messing, just playing about with it. That's all you do, you know. It's playing, isn't it? You know.
What about yourself, Keith?
How did I? So, funnily enough, I was into bonsai and I was studying like all the rules of bonsai, and then like that leads you on to learning the techniques of like Japanese gardening, and then I come across, ironically, I was like Takashi Amano stuff, and I was looking at it, and I realized like a lot of Takashi Amano stuff like ties in with Japanese gardening and photography and bonsai, and they're all similar techniques. And it was when I started like reading his stuff and like learning about his stuff that it all crosses over, and that's to me what is where I learned it. It was like and then like with like Iwagumi scapes, and
Yeah.
I was looking at them and I was thinking, so like all these people on YouTube were making these Iwagumis, and I was like, you don't understand what he's doing here. He's trying to capture the negative space in the tank. That's what makes it look. Some of his scapes, it's not what he's used; it's the space he's left that make them look really powerful. If you look at some of his scapes, it's like these little photography tricks that he uses that make some of his scapes look really good, as opposed to some people you look and they make everything look really busy and congested. And then when you look at his stuff, it's like quite refrained, and it's like he'll draw your eye in with space and stuff like that, which is like that's the sort of stuff I learned anyway that I find fascinating. And
Yeah,
obviously,
canvas
he was
initially is
using the
madness.
Yeah, I think it's aquascaping is one of the things as well, where it's about the angle as well, what you're going to be looking at it from, and
100%.
like you could. I've recently seen a couple of people setting up tanks from not using the front panel glass, but actually the side panel, because they're going to be walking into the room all the time and going to be seeing that, and they're not going to be seeing this, or like say this bit's covered, so they're going to be setting up a tank and all you're going to see is that,
Yeah.
and it's odd in it because
Well,
when I
look,
set up tanks,
my most recent contest, yeah, tank, you've got to look at it from this angle, upwards, and like you can't look at it from any other angle. That's the angle the pictures, the contest pictures getting took from. So
yeah,
I've built it basically looking through a camera lens.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's like, well, if I was building it for like the living room, say, and for us to enjoy, I'd build it, you know, where you're looking at it type thing, you know, like you say, when you walk in the room, you want to see it perfect, don't you, where you're sitting. I know when I'm scaping a tank for somebody, if I'm going to do someone's home tank, I'll say to them, where do you sit? Where do you chill in the out? Where are you going to be looking at the tank from? And then once I found that out, that's how I go about setting the scape up.
yeah. That's because I was talking to a lad. He was an aquascaper, and I was like, he set this tank up, and he showed me from the front, and I thought, why have you left like 2/3 of the tank empty? And he said, because it's in the doorway to the living room, so everyone looks at it from this angle. And then when I looked, it was perfect from that angle.
Yeah.
But like the whole tank looked empty from, and he was like, but like it foreshortens. And I was like, what? And he was like, look at the picture of the Mona Lisa. I think it was. And he was like, one of her arms is longer than the other because it's perspective. And I was like, what are you on about, mate? And then when I looked, I was like, wow. And I was like, so that's how he's done it, you know what I mean? He's like,
Yeah,
because you're looking through the water, you don't see half the fish tank. And I was like, wow,
so-
you guys are nuts. Use aquascapers thinking stuff like that.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
like-
madness. It is.
If I look from the side there, it's just a cave with like a bit of wood pushed against the glass with like plants. But then I look from it here, and I'm like, oh, it's like, you know, you've got like kind of a cave going on there. It's like there and a bit of empty space here. Like it's one of them. It's just the perspective on it. I think that's the mad thing about it. But I'll finally move on to this next bit because I think we've covered our topics anyway. Is finally the Q&A. I know people were asking us questions earlier, but we'll crack on to obviously asking each other some questions and then letting people in the chat ask us things too. I know that Mick asked me earlier what my favourite fish is. I mean,
I'm going to expand on that. I don't want what your favourite fish is. I want what your favourite fish is that you haven't got or you can't keep. What you wish you could keep.
oh, in this moment in time.
Yeah. That's all he is. That.
Oh, lad. Hats off to you. You put me under there. That's why I've had a hat on, by the way. Get the back on. Yeah. Oh, it's got to be like a zebra pleco maybe, but then no, I can't. It can't be that. That's too basic.
Got them.
You've got them.
Nah, that's him. That is.
I know him. He's like, yeah.
Off here.
Throwing in.
Dylan's like, Placco's there, you know that.
You know that. I was sat there when Dylan for like 5 minutes just staring. I didn't say a word. I was like,
a good 15 minutes you were stood there watching them.
like, wow, look at them. You're like, I know. The other side, and I'm like, oh. Adam, what's your favourite washing machine brand? Shut up, Arnold. Hot points. Hot points. It's hot points. Yeah, I think it's got to be cribs. I think it's got to be Nigerian red cribs, or it's got to be the wild caught ones not the wild caught ones, the rare ones, the low bay that I used to have, or it's so many fish. It's got. I've seen some rare wild caught crebensis in Pier Aquatics, and I was like, I need them now, but I can't. And I was sat there like almost tearing up because I was walking away from them. I was like, they're probably not going to be there next time I'm in here. And I was like, that's it. Like, yeah, I think I'm a sucker for dwarf cichlids, but then I really like catfish and cories and plecos and all that too. At the moment, I mean, I can keep, but what I'd like to keep, and Dylan's ears will perk up now, and he probably knows what I'm going to say, is maybe a honeycomb catfish, but yeah. £60 for the pair. What's that? What's he on about there? Which? A washing machine? Red.
Tell you what mine would be, yeah. Mine would be
laser
like one of them big Fahaka puffers or something.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, we all want to.
I've got a tank. I've got a tank in the living room that's big enough for one fish. You know what I mean? It's one of them. I can have all the fish in the world, or I can have one big fish. And I've always been tempted to do it, but I've never pulled the trigger, to be honest.
They're the two cups come from me. Them two.
Is he selling them?
Yeah, they're the non-breeders. The non-breeders Ebs. That was big. Probably about 2 inch now, Christian, I think. That's what they'll be now. But the non-breeder quality, that's why they've left the breeding group.
Ah.
Do it.
No, I'm alright. I've got 2 plecos in my tank already. I've got a mini snowball and then a cracked zebra. But every time I say cracked zebra, someone wants to punch me in the throat. Sorry, L236. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, all them numbers and letters mean nothing to me. They mean
It's
nothing
black
to
and
me.
white, and it's stripy, but it's not as expensive as the other one, and it's bigger. And then
If
I
I
could get
see a
it from
pleco that's black and white and looks like a zebra, it's getting called a zebra pleco. No one's telling me any different. I don't care the exact specific genos and all this madness. I honestly don't care. It's a zebra pleco.
That's the mad thing. The deeper you get into this hobby, the more the Latin names come out, and then sometimes
Yeah.
I'll go. You know, when there was that shop on Smithdown Road, when I was early in the hobby, I decided to start calling up and I was asking them for fish, and I was like, I come out with this Latin name, and like he was like, lad, I'm gonna be honest. What the did you just say? I don't have a clue. We just get fishing, lad.
Yeah, you start getting into it and start saying them yourself. Don't you? I've done it myself with plants and that, and I was like, I'm saying these mad plants to the normal fish shop, and they're like, what's that? You know what I mean? It's just a normal plant everyone's got. You're just calling it a mad name.
Why does everyone speak in Latin as soon as they start talking about fish tanks and plants and that?
But then the common names as well is like mad, because then, for example, I've got them raccoon tetra. They look nothing like a raccoon. They're yellow. There's like a little bit of black on them, but the raccoons are like black and white, aren't they? Maybe me pleco should be called the raccoon pleco. Nah, imagine that, or why a panda curry? It could be a raccoon curry. That's what I mean. The common names a bit, yeah, really make
What
much sense.
the Americans have got all different names for fish as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like we call them celestial pearl gallery. No, we call them galaxy rasborer over here for years, and they were calling them celestial pearl danios.
Yeah,
And
that's the Yanks
like
for you,
there's
though,
so
isn't
many
it?
different names for different fish. You got any of these, mate? They're like in the fish shop. They're like, nah, I've got none of them, and they're dead in the tank because we're using the American names because we've been on YouTube doing our research.
The Yankee do those, man. They don't have love changing English words, don't they?
Yeah, it's our language.
Right.
Leave it alone.
Any
Crazy.
questions, anyone? Oh, wait, sorry, I completely skipped over. Yeah, Keith, what fish would you like to keep?
Mate, like at the moment, I'd love me front rosa back that I had in my old house. They were like that big, and I grew them out till they were like a foot long, and then I had
Nice.
to get rid of them when I moved. And I got more front rosa, and it was just never the same. I'd like that. If I could get my hands on my colony, I'd love them back.
Yeah,
But
nice.
I don't know where they went. And they were absolutely boss, and they were ready to breed. If I could get any fish, it'd be them. But like, I haven't got space for front rosa anymore.
Dylan, yourself as a breeder, what's your next dream project?
It's not. It's a bit of a weird one. Red devil angelfish.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
nice.
Yeah, but I can't find them. They do not exact. You can't find them in the UK, and when you do, they're basically just a koi. Basically, just a koi angel with a little bit more. They're not what you see like in America with the proper red devils, proper orange going and the red going across them. That's what I'm currently after. That's the next dream fish, to be honest. When I can find them, I'm probably going to have to get some imported somehow. But they don't exist in the UK. And ones that do are always dead weak and a bit funny looking. That's the next. I want to get into more bigger cichlids again. That's the next thing.
What type of cichlids?
So I've done like the typical Oscars and stuff, but I'd like to go into like more African cichlids. I've never done them. Like
I'm convinced the Malawis and Tanganyikas, I'm convinced they're going to kick off again soon.
Yeah,
I'm convinced.
Which is weird.
Because like 5 years ago, like it was about 5 or 6 years ago, everyone had them and they all just disappeared, and the shops couldn't sell them, and everyone's starting to get shellies and stuff like that again. And I reckon in the next couple of years, I reckon it's going to kick off again.
MD's been making videos on it, and that's when you know the trend's coming back in if he's doing it.
Is that what is he?
It's crazy, isn't it? The amount of influence they have, like over what fish get bought at certain times.
It's like my local fish shop when Joey Mullen kicked off. Everyone was in, and they were like, "Are you any stingrays and marijuana?" And Andy's were like, "What are you on about, mate? Got goldfish? What do you want one of them for? Like, you know, how big's your tank?
100 litres.
It's a 4 foot. Mate, do you know how big your tank needs to be? No, I don't care, I want one.
Just get me a little one.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want a
yeah,
stingray.
end up with a hill stream loach and a butterfly fish. Like, there you go, sorted.
I had an argument with someone earlier. I decided to start pulling out me fish nerd knowledge. We go, oh, that Dylan. I put a video of Dylan's hill stream looch. He's like, that's a Hong Kong looch. Oh no, Hong Kong pleco. I went, Hong Kong pleco. I was like, it isn't. And when I searched it up, it was a Borneo loach. I was like, no, lad, it's the wrong thing.
Hong Kong pleco.
Hong Kong pleco.
That's what they all used to be called.
Names
And you go in the shop and it'd be called a Hong Kong pleco.
They're called like a Siamese sucking loach or something like that. I think MS Aquascaping was telling me they're called Siamese sucking loach.
There's some fish that have had like 10 different names over the years. You know what I mean? Like Siamese alligators and stuff. Like the names change all the time.
Yeah. Same with plants and that.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
then now they're all Latin, aren't they, plants?
yeah, I'm not even going to speak plant names. I can sometimes come out with a bit of Latin for fish names, but I can't. Any more questions? Anybody for our final? I think we'll go for the next. We'll go till quarter. Well, the 45 mark. So if anyone's got any more quick questions before we decide to end, because I think
I don't know if
Michael's
seen that, but FM Aquascapes, yeah, man. I any contests that take aquascapes, mate, I enter them. I've got I've said there's a few results that I've done up on the Instagram if you want to look at them. But yeah, man, any competition at all, I'm there. You know.
Wow. I didn't realise you were into competitions and that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. You know this.
Wow.
You know this. Got to be the best, lad.
Oh, yeah, first or last, isn't it?
That's it, mate. That's it. Loads of lasts.
Yeah.
Nah, don't get me wrong. You know what? I'm not doing to toot my own horn and all that. Not doing too bad in the our results section, like so. But I haven't got any done for this year, to be honest. I was trying to get that tank done, so I had entered it last second into a few competitions this year, but it's not gonna happen now. So going on holiday and stuff, and you know all that normal life things. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be next year. This tank will be done and down, and I'll have a new tank in. So I'll have like.
How do you get them? Like, I'm going to apply for. Like, you have to decide I'm going to apply for that competition, and then get a tank and think, right, this is what I'm going to do. Do they have any specifications of how big the tank needs to be and stuff like that?
Different contests, like they'll have different, different section, different categories. You can enter like nano tanks, large, medium, whatever, and they'll do it by litre type thing. Some contests, and then others they'll just lob them all in one big, So, and that tends to be happen. The bigger, massive tanks will end up winning. Because it's all about the depth, isn't it? In the contest, it's all about how big you can make this tank look.
That's what George Farmer was doing, that wasn't he? With his, he put a thing out with doing like a really far out shot.
Yeah, man.
And the tank was only like that shallow, and it looked massive. It looked like it went on for like 2 foot tank, and it wasn't.
That's the thing I love about aquascaping and that, because like you can transform these tanks into little mini landscapes, but the depth you can get from them is just it's next level. You wouldn't think. It's like I call them living pictures. You know what I mean? Because it is looking like a piece of art.
I'm going to hyper-focus on this all night now, aren't I? I'm going to be like, out my phone now, read everything all night.
That tank behind Keith is going to be probably in a massive aquascape now. Goodbye, jungle. Hello, aquascape.
To be honest, that's one of the reasons why I've grown all plants out. What's that?
My man's tanks here. Want to see some more plants behind you, lad? That Anubius isn't cutting it.
No. I can't keep anything alive.
I'm sending you some plants.
Yeah, like I've got about between all the tanks, I've got about 30 foot worth of plants.
Keep flying, lad. He's got jungles there.
You know what you do? You just put them in, and then just get into something else and go and set different tanks up in your bedroom. And then
Can
when
I
you
get
come
some
back,
val, lad?
what?
Can I have
Good.
some val, lad?
Yeah, you could have, look. It's like right what you're on. Really really done an Adam and went through my tank. Like just the bits that have come off's about a foot long. And then I've got the same in here that I pulled out last week. And the back of this 5 foot tank here, or 4 foot, I think this one is, it's about that deep, like along the bottom and just val. So
That's
like
it
if
as well.
anyone,
Once it goes, and then you've got that planted tank established. It's like it doesn't stop, does it? You know what I mean?
no, it's like what you were saying with living the field, yeah. I put in like 5 tanks in freedom, it melted, and the other two, like there's a piece there that didn't do nothing, and then the rest of it there and there all grew in that tank. And since I put it in there, it's done nothing. But that grows up. What's that? Foot and a half, and then a foot and a half to the front. And
Yeah,
I'm pulling that out every couple of weeks in that tank. But these tanks down here just died. So like different plants will do different things in different tanks. It's just
exactly. Yeah,
mad.
it's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, some fish may just not survive in a certain setup, but then could thrive in another. And the same with plants. Every tank is a different ecosystem. It's just kind
Yeah,
of
man.
look at the draw
My
sometimes.
living room tank. No one will believe me. I can't keep duckweed in my living room tank. It just disappears. You know, like if
Crazy.
I've been messing around, like if I pull plants out of this tank, put them in the living room, and there's duckweed in it, it just disappears.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
I've had that before
imagine,
myself. You know. Yeah, it's
imagine being
crazy,
like,
isn't
I
it?
can't keep duckweed. If
It's
that was
mad,
my
isn't
only
it? Like,
tank, everyone's like,
yeah,
get duckweed, can't get rid of it, and I'm like, can't grow it.
yeah.
But yeah, I think with that anyway, lads, I think we've had a really good laugh anyway. I think Mixed Missus is going to think that he's been abducted and why is he still in
Bro,
the
I
kitchen.
was literally just about to say to you, I might have to just go missing a second, just check everyone's not about to kill me.
Yeah,
I've got them all
I was
tied up upstairs, lads, so they're not making noise.
But yeah, I was gonna say anyway, we've had like a really good live anyway. We've went like an hour 50 or so now anyway. We've covered some really good topics and got some really good things spoken about too. I think it's been good as well to have like a bit of a local live too and a bit of a dynamic going on because obviously, as we were all saying, we don't know many people local, so it's nice to have some local lads all in here. And again, obviously, if we can try and build this community up as big as possible, whether that's over the
An
internet with
hour
people in
50.
America or
An hour 50. That means it's been an hour 50 since I had a do. I need to go.
He needs to go. He's itching, he's tweaking, he's going, lad.
Everyone's, why them Merseyside lads so good at growing plants, mate?
We know why now. It's dead warm in your house, lad, isn't
Man's got
it?
expertise.
Like
Why
he
have the
built through the
pigeons on
roof.
your roof, lad? Anyways, we've had a really good live anyway. If you haven't already, make sure to check out Dylan DJA Aquatics. There's a video with me and him coming out tomorrow at 2 p.m. UK time. If you become a member tonight, by the way, you are able to see that video right now as it stands, and there's so many other perks that you're able to obtain as well. You also have Keith Aquatics Fanatics here as well. Go and check him out if you want to learn about your Wallstad, if you want to learn about anything. This man will literally hyper focus on anything. And then finally, Mickey as
So
well.
that
The Scouse
bastard the
Scaper,
camera.
who is your, oh my god, what is going on there? He's got his DJ lights going on and everything. Yeah, he can hook you up with some hardscape if you need, and as well, he's hoping to open up his own aquascaping shop in the near future too. So check out his socials and his channel. And yeah, we've had a great one.
Instagram.
It's been a good one, lads, and appreciate everyone coming on as well. See you all later.
Take care.
See you later, boys. Good stream.
Here you go.